Hey YouTube, Jonathan here at Night Knowledge. Simply put, the Kintaro is the best medium mech that you can start using in Mechwarrior 5 Mercenaries in early game and all the way to end game with challenge difficulty 11 and 12. It's a fast mech and able to avoid fire from enemies. It's flexible, being able to deal damage to both land and sky vehicles, and it has enough spike DPS to one-shot lighter enemies and quickly cripple heavier mechs. Still don't believe me? Let me show you why. Let's get started. Let's quickly go over why the Kintaro, in my opinion, is the best mech. We won't be talking about hero mechs because they are quite rare, expensive, and luck-based. I'd rather spend my time picking the right mech as soon as possible. The assassin mech is very quick but poorly armed with typically not enough hard points. The blackjack is typically the speed of a centurion and has too many weapons on his arms. The cicada is a quick mech with very few weapon hard points. The centurion, while one of my favorites in Mechwarrior Online, is slow in Mechwarrior 5 and is typically heavily dependent on an autocannon in its right arm. The crab's center torso is far too big for a mech of its tonnage. The enforcer has too many large weapons on its arms. The griffin has too few hard points. The hunchback, while heavily armored, is slow and has too many hard points in the right torso. The phoenix hawk, while fast, doesn't have very much in terms of hardpoint variety. The shadow hawk might be the closest mech in regards to a Kintaro, but has an unnecessary ballistic hardpoint. The trebuchet doesn't have enough hardpoint variety. Same thing with the Vindicator and the Wolverine, which concentrate large weapons on their right arms. Let's quickly look at this high-level assassination mission where I use a slightly modified Kintaro. It has two medium lasers, which you'll see I use on turrets, light vehicles, but mainly for helicopters. The Kintaro benefits from having lasers on its arms, so it can target enemies quicker and at sharper angles. This build has two SRM-6s grouped together, which are mainly used for heavy vehicles or mechs. Finally, a SRM-4 is in its own separate weapon group because it's in the arms, which allows quicker target acquisition and is enough to take out turrets, light vehicles, and sometimes an unlucky helicopter. Most other mechs will either overheat in combat, take too much damage, or have a hard time taking out so many enemies at once with a heavier, slower weapon like a PPC or AC-20. Let's quickly go to the mech lab and show you exactly how I spec this mech. Once you have about 20 million C-bills, you'll want to make your way to the Draconis Combine part of the map, which I've found Kintaros more frequently at the industrial hubs than any other Great House location. The Kintaro you'll probably find is the KT-18, which is totally fine and the one I currently use. I'll strip the mech and apply max armor to show you exactly how I spec it. I'll put a SRM-6 in the center torso and right torso, because with good protective torso turning, you'll be able to spread the damage around and keep your biggest damage weapon grouping throughout the entire battle. A SRM-4 is put in the left arm, and two medium lasers are put in each laser hardpoint. I then put 3 tons of SRM ammo in the right torso and have one heatsink in the head, left torso, and center torso. I've experimented using Artemis SRMs, but they do weigh 1 ton more each, which isn't useful because you'll be in close quarters brawling at top speed. I also don't use medium pulse lasers because they typically have shorter range, cause you to overheat faster, and is painful to lose, and will happen more often because it's on the arms. In late game, you can use a double heatsink in replacement of 3 normal heatsinks making you slightly less heat efficient, but freeing up 2 tons to possibly switch the SRM-4 to a 6 and an additional SRM-2 in the left arm, or upgrade all the SRMs to have Artemis and slightly reduced armor in the head and legs. But I honestly like not worrying about losing components and am using this configuration to this day. So back to the mission. This battle is a prime example of how powerful a Kintaro is. When the right weapon is used, it will take out the enemy quickly, allowing you to switch to the next, meaning both you and your dumb lancemates take less damage. Note that the Kintaro should be piloted by you, as we've all noticed that the AI is not particularly accurate with SRMs and are better off in Shadowhawks per my prior hints video. So that concludes today's video on what makes the Kintaro the #1 medium mech in my stable of mechs. If I play devil's advocate, any number of medium mechs can be effective even if they're slower, have less weapons, or concentrate their weapons in their arms. But when it comes to fast, accurate brawling, I don't think there are any mechs as well designed as the Kintaro. Check back soon for what is my go-to heavy mech that I use for some of the hardest missions in the game. Let me know in the comments below what is your favorite medium mech and how you spec'd it, as I'd love to try new combinations. Check out my channel for other videos on Mechwarrior 5, video games, board games, and other fun things. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.